Hi guys, Darth Phobos here, back on their Star Wars action figure review, and I got something really cool to review today. This is a mint in box. It's a Star Wars: The Force Unleashed Sith and Imperial Troopers multi-pack. This was released, as you can see, with the Shadows of the Dark Side packaging with like the Rex and on there back in I think 2011. It was, as you can see here with the sticker, a Toys R Us exclusive and contains all figures and characters from the Force Unleashed video game. And I remember seeing this set back in the day. I think this was released alongside the Delta Squad set as well, which I do have. But I remember seeing this set in stores back in the day, but I never got it. And it's been one of those sets I've always wanted for years and years now. So this is another really great older 3 3/4 inch Star Wars array of figures that I finally been able to get my hands on. I actually do already own Darth Phobos. I bought her loose like a year or two ago. I do have a review of that her on my channel, but it's nice to have a brand new one. And now the old one, I don't know, I'll sell or trade off the old one or something. But yeah, just super awesome. I got this off Facebook Marketplace. It's always worth it. Check Facebook Marketplace sometimes. I got it from someone relatively local. I paid like 150 Canadian for it, plus a couple of hardcover Thrawn Ascendancy books the guys wanted, made them take $50 off. So I got it for 150 bucks plus a couple books, which is easily like half of what it goes for online usually. Usually you'll see this, I see this regularly listed at like $300, $400 Canadian. So yeah, I think got a pretty good deal on it. Anyways, take a quick look at it in the box because we have to, getting it sealed like this. I really like the presentation, the backdrop, all the figures. You just don't get Star Wars figure products like this anymore. I really love the artwork on the side with all the characters in the set. Not that much on the bottom. The back has little images and then brief write-ups of every characters. If you want to pause and read those. But I really wanted this set because Darth Phobos and the Navy Commandos only appear in the PSP, Wii versions of the game for sure. Maybe a couple of the others. It was really weird. There was like the main consoles had a certain version of the game, then the other consoles didn't. I had the PSP version. I loved that game when I was a kid. I played the shit out of it, and I always remember the Navy Commandos were iconic in that. For some reason, they made the Navy Commandos the standard infantry that you fought instead of like normal stormtroopers. I don't know why, but it was really cool. So I've always wanted these figures, and they're actually really tough to track down. There's like almost no listings on eBay for them right now, as of making this video anyways. Then yeah, the other set was the Republic Commando set, which I do have. And I reviewed a number of years ago if you want to go on my channel, take a look at that. I love this set as well, although mine are starting to yellow, unfortunately. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get this cracked open, and we'll take a close look at all the figures. All right, now I've done the deed. I've opened the packaging, got the figures out, and yeah, it's a super solid set of a lot of figures I've been hunting for a while, or 3 to be exact, these 3 here. Phobos if I didn't already have her. But anyways, let's get right on to it. We'll talk about the troopers first so the Sith can chill off in the back. And we'll also start with the least desirable of the set, being the Evo Trooper. And it's still a good figure. It's just that by this time the set this came out, this was the 4th time they had released this figure. It got released single carded in the 2007 30th anniversary collection. It then got released again in 2008, reissued the same one in the 2008 Legacy collection as a single issue. Then in 2009, it was in a 5-pack repainted with a camo deco, which I actually would like to pick up at some point because I think that looks cool. And then lastly, it got released in this set, as far as I know. And unfortunately, I think this one's the worst one they did. It's still not a bad figure or anything, but there's a lot of weird, like, missing paint that's really odd. And I'll do a comparison with the original. But, like, on the helmet, the mouth guard or mouthpiece or whatever, that line for the mouth is only painted a little bit. It's missing going down the rest of the way. I don't know if they're just trying something different for the look, but it just makes it look like paint's missing, which I think is weird. And then the rest of the figure's not too bad for the most part. You still get paint on the shoulders, details on the pouches and whatnot. I really like the silver paint on this little wrist mounted thing. The midsection looks good. And then down here on the knees, this little part here is, there's supposed to still be the black undersuit, but they didn't paint it black, so that looks kind of odd. But then you have like paint like this where they painted these ammo or whatever this is in the cylinder here. So I don't know why they omitted some random paint apps. If they just painted the line and then painted the black there, it would just look like a clean Evo Trooper, which would have been fine. But with this release, it does feel like some random paint was just missed for some reason. But it's still not bad. It still looks fine. Although with this set was all new figures except for this figure. I guess to make it a bit cheaper, one reissued figure is how they do that. But I kind of wish they'd done another different figure to have the set all new and all different, but not bad. But I imagine if you wanted to find this figure loose, you could probably get it for decently cheap. I haven't looked though. The pipes come out of the helmet if you want to. I don't really know why you'd want to, but I guess just so they can't snap off. If you go too far, they'll just come out. But they have quite a bit of slack. Articulation wise, I guess while I'm talking about this, the head has a really nice ball joint, so you get a lot of movement out of that. You have pretty decent hinges and swivels at the shoulders there. Elbow hinges and rotates. They don't bend 90, and then swivels at the wrists, a swivel at the waist, swivel at the hips. Hinged knees that don't go full 90, and then hinged ankles that go up and down and they rotate, which is pretty good articulation for that time. Obviously, we've moved a bit beyond that now, but I can't see them ever doing an Evo Trooper again. But yeah, not bad articulation. In terms of accessories, I think he actually comes with the most in the set. You do have his backpack here. It actually has some nice paint on it, and then you can just slot that on the back there, which doesn't want to. There we go. It's on there pretty securely. Looks good. Actually, it doesn't even want to go in all the way. I don't know what, because the peg's kind of gummy, I guess. Anyways, it's on there. You also get two of these little pistols cast in black, which we've seen, if you're familiar anyways. Back then, these were pretty common with like clone trooper figures and whatnot. You can have him. Well, I think you can have him hold them. You can have him hold them, although one of the problems is he doesn't have dedicated like trigger finger hands. His hands are sculpted, so like the two fingers are like together like that, almost like he's supposed to be holding scout trooper pistols or something. But you can get him to hold them. Unfortunately, nowhere to store them though. And then lastly, you do get this larger gun, like Sand Trooper blaster. Just cast in black, including the bandolier, is kind of unfortunate. The other versions, the bandolier was painted, or the strap was painted. He's a bit more able to hold this a little better. You can have him hold this gun. It's a bit tough getting him in a two-handed pose because the elbows don't bend far enough, and he's also got this breathing box or whatever in front of him, so two-handed poses are pretty tough. But you can have him hold that gun. Or if you want, which is probably what I'll end up doing because I have both the pistols, you can sling it over his shoulder there, which looks pretty decent as well. Let me just put the pistols back in his hand. And then I can do some quick comparison just with the other Evo Trooper. This is the 2008 Legacy Collection reissue, which I think is the same as the 30th anniversary figure. And as you can see, I just think the older one is much better painted. It's got the full line for the face. I think the eyes even look a little cleaner. You've got the weathering on the boots. You're not missing the black bit just above the knee there where there should still be bodysuit, or it's unpainted on this one. So I just think this old one looks a little better. But still pretty cool. But yeah, definitely the least desirable figure of the set and the least exciting one. But if you don't already have an Evo Trooper, it's still cool. It doesn't want there stand. Okay, puts him back there for now. Now next on to kind of the main reason, one of the biggest reasons I bought this set was the Imperial Navy Commandos. These guys are super cool. They look like they are 100% new sculpt, and they were only released in this set. I mean, all these figures except for the Evo Trooper, and even that version, those are all unique to this set, but they never made these again. They never did a single carded issue or anything like these. It's pretty unfortunate because it would have been kind of nice to army build a little squad of these, but with how rare they are, it's just not really feasible. They're pretty expensive and hard to find. But if I ever find more loose or whatever for a good price, I'd definitely pick them up. But I really love the design. Apparently, I was looking them up on Wikipedia yesterday, and apparently they're not stormtroopers. They're just normal Imperial Army, but they just wear this style of armor, I guess. But I like kind of the combination of like the stormtrooper face with the more like officer looking helmet, which is, I think, is cool. I've always liked the design there. The paint's all really clean. I like the bulkiness of the torso armor and the pouches on the side. I always like kind of how they have a bunch of pouches and whatnot, look a bit more tactical and practical, to be completely honest. You have the spot where the backpack goes in. They actually did a lot of sculpted and painted detail in there when they didn't have to, because it's probably going to get covered up by the backpack, so that's cool. Oh, I do notice mine has a little bit of a scuffing there on this back. That's a little unfortunate, but not a big deal. Thermal detonator on the back of the belt there. Multiple pouches and canisters, looking pretty good. And the leg armor looks cool too. He does have a holster there. Yeah, it's a really nice looking figure. Not a ton of paint, it's just black and white basically, but it is pretty cool. The white is not super glossy. It's definitely a lot more like matte looking, but it looks good. I really like this a lot. Both of the Navy commandos come with a backpack and a blaster. Here's the backpack. Similar to the Sand Trooper backpack, but a bit smaller. Has some nice paint apps. Attached to the back, really interesting. You got this little indent, like actual detailed indents, and just being a boring peg. And they plug in like that, and I think that goes on pretty good. It's not pretty solid. It's not just gonna fall off, so that's nice, because that's a system that could have ended up like that. And then they also both come with a DC-15 and a carbine, like a clone trooper blaster, which I think is interesting. I think in the game they technically did use normal stormtrooper blasters, but because of the lower graphics, they kind of looked like these. So I guess that's why they included this one, I guess. But they hold them. They have dedicated trigger fingers, so they hold them good. Let's see if I can get a decent two-handed pose. Yeah, you can get a two-handed pose. I don't know if you'll be able to get like a fantastic aiming pose. No, the elbow joints don't quite bend in far enough where you get a really great aiming pose, but you can definitely get two-handed poses that look pretty good, so that's nice. And if you don't want them holding the blaster, you can take them out and you can actually slot it into the holster on the leg there. Fits in really nice. Not gonna fall out, looks pretty good. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Then getting the, oh, come on. Then for the officer, he is very similar, but with just a few differences. He actually, oh, does he have a different belt? He actually has a different belt. The black pouches here on the side are actually longer and are larger than on the normal trooper figure, so that's kind of cool. I believe the legs are the same, but the belt is slightly different, so that's kind of cool. They didn't have to do that. Torsos look the same with the pouches. He does have the pauldron. You could remove the pauldron if you wanted to, I guess, but you do have the pauldron. He's actually missing the paint that the other one had. This one doesn't have paint on the back there. I actually can't remember if the standard Navy commandos even had backpacks in the game. I don't know. That might not be actually accurate, although they included it, which is nice. The helmets are slightly different as well, because the officer does have the rangefinder. Unfortunately, it does not move at all. That's okay. Still looks really nice. And he comes with the same accessories. You can give him blaster. It's the exact same DC-15. And then he also comes with the same backpack. You can plug that in. And that looks really good. Really happy with these. They look great. I love this design, this trooper design. I don't know, it's just super cool and very nostalgic for me. I'm super happy to finally have these. Just for some comparison to a modern Stormtrooper, here's the Force Unleashed Stormtrooper Commander from a few years ago now. Honestly, it's been a while since it's released, but they look pretty good together. Evo Trooper, and then another Force Unleashed figure from that time period I have on the shelf. Here's the Jump Trooper. So pretty nice to have all these Force Unleashed troopers. Looks very cool. They all fit in very nicely together. But I'll remove these because now it's time to talk about the Sith. Put the troopers off to the side. Go with Darth Phobos first. Now I have reviewed her already. I have a single video dedicated to her. I'm a really big fan of this figure. It's really well done objectively, but it's also just a very nice, unique figure for the collection. Don't have too many female Sith, and we definitely don't have too many that are this colorful. She's also a quite a unique species. I can't remember the name of the species off the top of my head. They're in like Jabba's. I think one of them's a dancer for Jabba in Return of the Jedi. But very colorful. You've got all these skin tattoos or markings that look really nice. The head sculpt with the horns and the hair is really good with the blue hair and a bit of lighter blue paint brushed on to give it some more detail. And the face paint is decently applied considering the age of the figure, much long before face printing. And then the outfit with all like the dark purples, the pinks, and then the shading and the light greens and blues really does make this a very unique Sith Lord for the collection, where it's mostly black armored male characters. So I like that a lot. Yeah, just looks really good. One thing that's kind of interesting is the torso is sculpted to be kind of twisting ever so slightly, like she's twisting her torso ever so slightly. It reminds me of like McFarlane Toys back when they would like pre-mold poses and like cut articulation in. She's not quite that bad. It's just randomly they did it on her torso midsection, which is kind of weird, but it's not super noticeable, but you can kind of tell. This lower robe thing here is a soft plastic, quite a soft plastic. It'll get out of the way. And yeah, just a really cool looking figure, very unique. She does have a ball joint at the head, but there's not a ton of movement because of the hair. Pretty good hinges at the shoulders with rotation. Elbows that go 90 and rotate. Swivels at the wrists, which is great to see all this articulation on a female figure. Usually they really skimp out on the arm articulation for female characters in this time period, but they didn't here. Sole cut at the waist, swivels at the hips, and then hinges at the knees. They go a little past 90 actually, and then there is no articulation in the ankles because she's got these weird hoof feet. So it'd be a little hard to put articulation there. But again, a pretty well articulated figure for the time period. Accessory wise, she just comes with one. It is her, she wants to stand. Yeah. It is her unique double bladed lightsaber, which has nice red blades, lighter red, but red blades, and then the really nicely painted hilts, silver with black wash to really bring out those details. So that looks really nice. And then she can, oops, come on. She can hold it, holds it pretty good. You are gonna want to be careful with this hilt. My old one, I got it used and it had a little bit of the paint scraped off of the hilts. Unfortunately, that was a somewhat common thing with 3 3/4 inch figures for a while. But there she goes, holding the lightsaber. It looks really good. Really big fan of this figure still. Really like it. Then lastly, we have Starkiller. This was one of the main ones I wanted I didn't have. I'm still missing a lot of them. I still need the 2 of the ones from the Jedi one and the normal one from the Evolutions pack. I still need the Raxus Prime pack one. I used to have the one in the Bounty Hunter Mandalorian disguise, but I traded it away years and years ago. I kind of want to get that one back at some point, although I'm not in a huge rush for that one because that figure is not fantastic. But yeah, there's still a few Starkillers I need to track down, but this was the main one I wanted. In the Sith Lord outfit, I do believe. In the first game, this was a unlockable costume you could wear. It was one of my favorites, the Sith Lord outfit. And then they did in the second game, if you did, well, spoiler, I guess, but if you do the dark side ending, the dark side clone that kills you or whatever at the end is actually wearing this outfit or something very similar. But yeah, I really like the look of it. You know, fairly standard Sith looking attire. You've got the plastic hood and the cloak, which I really like the sculpt of, and I like how it sits on the head. It sits really nicely. It looks great. And the head sculpt there, we get a closer look because this is removable, and I might as well actually remove it now. It just kind of sticks on the figure. It's stuck on there because it's been on this long. I don't actually know how well this sticks on once I don't know, it still stays on pretty okay. But you can just take that off. Then you have the head sculpt underneath, which is a pretty good Starkiller sculpt. It's much better than some other ones they've done. Although I don't know why they gave him light brown hair, because his hair is a dark brown, almost black. But aside from the color of the hair, the head sculpt looks pretty good, and the face paint's decent for the time period. Then the chest armor and the shoulder armor look nice in the silver paint. You've got some blacks and grays that look good. The belt is nicely painted. I like the glossiness of the gloves to kind of contrast a bit. And then the lower robe has this nice sculpted pattern, and you actually have red on the underside, which is cool. Underneath, it's just pretty basic looking legs. I don't know if these are reuse or not. I would say they are because they have 2008 printed on them. They're probably from another Starkiller or something, but they look pretty good. And you're not going to see them much because of the plastic robe anyways. Articulation-wise, ball joint at the head that moves pretty well. Hinges at the shoulders that move pretty decently, honestly, considering. Single hinges at the elbows with rotation, go about 90. Swivels at the wrist, swivel at the waist. There is actually swivels at the hips. He does actually have hinges at the knees, and then hinges and swivels at the ankles as well. So his leg articulation is actually better than I thought. The only problem is because of the plastic robe, even though it is somewhat pliable, it does get in the way of the articulation quite a bit, so you're not going to be able to get a ton of posing out of that, unfortunately. But that's okay. It's still cool they put the articulation in there. You can maybe get some posing. Accessory-wise, you do have, obviously, the cloak, which we can slap back on. And then he does come with, of course, stand. Does come with a lightsaber, red blade, the silver painted hilts, more dark side oriented designed hilt. This is the same one that comes with the Sith Stalker figure from the Evolutions pack. The only thing is, he doesn't come with a lightsaber hilt. He does have a hole in the belt for a hilt, and I guess this saber has a peg hole, so you could technically, I guess, plug that in there. But I don't know why you'd want to. The blade would be hanging out. It's a bit unfortunate they didn't include the unlet hilt, but regardless, you can slot that in his hand. Holds it good, and looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, I think this is a really solid set. Not like perfect or anything, I guess, but you know, it's pretty solid. Like the Navy troopers are super cool. Darth Phobos and the Sith Lord Starkiller are both really nice additions if you're into collecting Darksiders and Sith like I am. So these are ones I definitely wanted to have. The Evo Trooper is the weakest part of this set. It's still a cool figure though. And overall, if you can find it for a decent price, I would recommend it. What would I consider a decent price? Ultimately, that's up to the buyer to decide what you think this is worth spending on. For me, 150 was worth it, and a couple books was worth it. I would have paid, the guy originally wanted 200, and if he wasn't going to take any books, I probably would have paid the 200. I would not have paid any more than 200. But that's a CAD as well, so it's less than USD. So I don't know, I'd say around 200's not too bad. Once it starts getting over that, it's hard to recommend buying the whole set, but it's a really solid one if you can get it for a good price. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next video. May the Force be with you.